up? What up? What up?
Awesome. How you doing, Bruce?
Not just good, I'm great. You might see me on the cover of Frosted Flakes.
I okay. I like that. I like that. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Bruce, we're just gonna hop right in. How about that? Tell me about yourself.
I am Bruce Hill. Hey, how you doing? I grew up in Ohio, and like when I went to school, like my first university, outside the dorm room there was a cornfield. So
Oh
like
my God.
different months out of the year, like you could see, and then other years the corn was too you couldn't see. Country folk. So then I transferred to a larger college, University of Cincinnati. Go Bearcats!
Nice.
Once I graduated, I was like, yo, I don't have to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved to Kentucky, and I was like, this love bourbon, Kentucky, and rolled on down 65 to Tennessee, Nashville, Music City, good times. That's where I became a salesperson, a sales professional.
Right.
I'm sure you'll probably ask me about that. Ended up in Atlanta, Georgia, a town, and actually back in Ohio now, where I can be closer to family. So
Nice.
I love to travel and family. That's like
I was gonna say
short.
that must clearly bring you some type of joy
Yeah,
because you clearly love to travel. That's
absolutely.
awesome. So tell me what your life was like before you moved into the tech industry.
I really am proud of myself to have a little hustle in me, even though I grew up in the suburbs, to be honest, So, but I like to think I'm not lazy. Like I've always worked two jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was in school, I had two jobs. So definitely work hard. But I started to realize the harder I worked,
Yep.
I didn't necessarily get any farther or any faster. So like I would work more hours, I would work more jobs, but I wouldn't have more money. And
Sure.
I was like, okay, wait a minute, something's not adding up here.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I can see that. So, what led to your decision essentially, or is it the obvious of finances to change? And what was that turning point like?
So I read a book, which I do a lot actually, and it was kind of strange to me because it talked about money being more spiritual. And
Hmm.
so it's really weird to me because I always thought money was like a product of like hard work.
Yeah.
But the author was like, "Yo, you can't work hard for money." He's like, "You have to add more value and you get more money."
Okay.
So it was kind of illuminating what people mean when they say work smarter, not harder. So I
Mm-hmm.
try to figure out like, okay, how can I work smarter and combine what I already do well? And so that was kind of a pivot for me where I looked around and tried to do something a little different. Like, what can I adjust? What can I change?
What did you really do to, I guess, try to solve those struggles? What did that look like for you?
So first, I moved out of sales to a sales manager position,
Mm-hmm.
and that was an unmitigated disaster. Like the training supervisor left to run a different location. They promoted one of my employees to manager, which wasn't really insult to me because they had been there longer. They were successful. That's fine,
Okay.
but they couldn't train me to be a manager because they'd never been a manager. So it was a new industry. They split an office, closed the office. We were short staffed. It was absolutely terrible. So eventually my position got eliminated. So I'm like, okay, that didn't work. So I went to technology. And
Mm-hmm.
that's when I ended up in Atlanta. I I went to a SaaS startup. It was 5 years old, and I was getting appointments. Like I was getting people on the phone, getting
Sure.
appointments, but I wasn't closing any sales. So that was my fault. They definitely were like, "Hey, thanks for playing. Get out."
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. So now I'm in Atlanta.
Yeah.
What is that? 453 miles from home.
Mm-hmm.
No job. Lease is up on the apartment. So I had to pivot, and that's where I found pre-hire.
Nice. Nice. And I guess what was the nail in the coffin for you that made you make that final decision to say, you know what, yeah, I'm definitely choosing pre-hired.
So that's it was a social proof, honestly.
Nice.
There's a lot of people that do what pre-hired is. Oh, so for anybody that doesn't know, pre-hired is a science-based sales training that helps you to change your life really to explore a career in technology sales
Yes.
and no experience required. So just because I was a sales professional, I don't want you to be deterred like, oh, Bruce has been doing this for a while. Like I tried to break into software and it was a failure. But with pre-hired training, like it was a much more successful. And the reason I chose pre-hired is these success stories. maybe there's more success stories somewhere else, but they didn't document it, and that's a
Yeah.
concern because if you
Yeah.
can't document it, you can't duplicate it.
Such a great point.
Bars.
Such a great point. And bars.
So I want documented success because I know that one of my favorite books by Marshall Goldsmith. He said, "What got you here won't get you there." So I
Mm-hmm.
said, I can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, right? That's insanity.
Ready?
So I said, okay, what can I do differently? What can I learn? What can I do to level up? And so
Mm-hmm.
pre-hire helped me get there.
Nice. I love that. I love that. Awesome. Awesome. So, would you say that is also the reason why you stuck through the program through its entirety? What was that factor like for you?
I'm just tenacious. I've failed so many times that I realized the only way to actually lose is to give up. And like that's corny, but I could tell you so many stories where I was at the bottom of the pile and then I worked my tail off and I was at the top, like top in the
Mm-hmm.
region, nationally recognized, top 100, President's Club. And my formula is pretty simple. For success, it's try again, try some more, try smarter, try something else, try harder, and you're gonna win. So I knew that if I completed the coursework and I applied what they taught me, that I'm going to have the success that they documented. I know that if I follow the process, I duplicate the success. So for
So,
me, it was
oh,
never a question of should I finish? Is this going to work? It was like it's going to work because I'm going to make it work.
right. Was it a long process for you? How long did the process of going through pre-hire really take for you?
So that's a tough one because it's kind of work at your own pace.
Right.
I believe the target is it 6 to 8 weeks or 8 to 10 weeks? I
Mm-hmm.
finished it in 3. That was me though. Please don't stress yourself out. Um,
Fair. Fair.
my goal was to get hired in 90 days, and I got hired in 40, 45, 47.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Not everybody can say that, but I love that the program is so, like you said, there's social proof. There's proof of concept. There's a level of, hey, I can see someone who has done it before. If I do exactly what they ask me and what is I can implement, there you go. It's done, and it's in the pudding. So that's fantastic. Awesome. So what is life like now for you after pre-hired?
Yo, it's pretty nice. Instead of working 7 days a week, I used to work every open hour. Every hour the
Oh,
business was open, I was in there. Uh, and I was barely breaking even. So now I work Monday through Friday. We actually have every Friday, last Friday of the month off. Like it's just paid day off.
I love that.
I've never
That's
heard anyone doing
a
that. No
good
complaints.
concept.
I still worked a half day, which was great because I got 3 new appointments and 1 new customer. Just copying the things that I learned from pre-hired. So it was really nice to take what I learned, in the coursework. Coursework is cute, right? You read the book, you watch the video, but applying it and it works. I'm like, okay, cool. So it's a lot more relaxing. Depending on when you're watching this, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, so I haven't been able to travel as much, but I have been able to work from anywhere, and that's amazing. And it's really a family. Like that's corny, but
Mm.
the CEO hit me up on LinkedIn. She's like, "Hey, welcome to the family." She's like, "When can we sit down and introduce ourselves?" And I'm like, "Yo, this is
And
dope."
what is this family? Like, where is this? Like, where do you actually work? If you don't mind sharing with the
I don't.
people.
I work for Natrio. It's full
Neutral.
stack monitoring and AI ops software as a service. I was
Nice.
like, ooh,
Nice.
I'm gonna have to look up some of those words. I know what they mean now, but when I started, I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
Do you have like a favorite aspect of your job?
They listen to feedback. I actually
Mm.
wrote an onboarding process for sales to the sales team, and I showed the CEO. She's like, "This is great. I just sent it to HR." I was like, "Wait, what?" She's like, "Yeah, this is perfect. This is just what we needed." And so it's a part of the official onboarding now.
I love that you're already implementing your ideas into the company. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it makes me feel like I matter. Like I contribute. I belong. It's a little pressure sometimes. You can't goof off, but it's also good motivation too.
Nice. Nice. So I love that. And honestly, just for full spectrum, we're just like wrapping up here. So you were already in the sales industry,
Yep.
but you weren't finding the results that you were looking for, honestly, like with the work that you were putting in. And then you came across pre-hired, and with going through the system, took you half the time that it would take, let's say, the actual program that it has in Salesforce. And with you implementing what you learned from pre-hired, you've landed another tech sales job, and you're within that career and you love it. Not only do you love it, but you're succeeding at it.
And yes, that's the key right there. Because
Hmm.
you could probably find a software job on your own. You really could,
Right.
but they're not going to pay you what you deserve. You probably don't know what that number is. You're probably not going to succeed long term. So there's such a great network of companies that pre-hire introduces you to, and then the training is going to help you be ahead of the curve to be a top performer. So this it feels good to have the success that I had working crazy hours,
Yes.
kind of the brute force approach, and now having that same success with less hours and that
Yeah.
smart work. So
Yeah.
it's awesome. Really glad I found pre-hire.
Totally. That's amazing. So last question for you. What type of person would you recommend for pre-hired?
That's easy. That's someone that's willing to learn. That's someone to willing to admit they don't know and they're willing to learn.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're an introvert, an extrovert. I mean, you see all this hair I got on my head. Like, don't worry about what you look like, as long as you're willing to learn and do the work.
Yes.
So if you're unhappy with where you're at, maybe you're coming home smelling like food. I know I've been there to make ends meet. Maybe you're working third shift. Maybe you need some more flexibility to take care of your family. The
Hmm.
list goes on. It's really the only person that this isn't going to work for is somebody who thinks they know everything already.
Wow. Wow. That's good. That's good. Thank you so much for sharing, Bruce. Thank you for, you know what I mean, really divulging into your story. That was really awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Absolutely. Bye.